'cause I wasn't there. Then I'll be gone and I'll forget.
Our opening track called Shut Up got up to number 7 in 1981, one of the 31 top 40 hits this quintessential British band have had in their magnificent career. Their music was so important to me and to so many others as a teenager growing up, because when a Madness song came on at the youth club disco or wherever we happened to be, that was legitimate permission to go nuts. They have always and still are led by the original Nutty Boy. He's the cheeky chappy frontman of Madness with the golden pipes. Hiya, Suggs.
All right, mate.
Oh, it's brilliant to have you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time, especially as I know this is Mental Festival season about to kick off for you. And also, big news, you're announcing this massive tour coming up in November. How did that all come together?
I mean, you know, obviously, like everyone, you know, we were doing nothing during the lockdown. We just sort of got about 5 million gigs backed up that we were supposed to have done in the last 3 years. But the great news is that people still want to see this shower of old farts, you know. I mean, I can't believe it. But for some reason or other, people like Madness, and I like it. You know, I've never appreciated it more in my life, you know, playing music in front of an audience, especially having had that sort of 2 or 3 years off.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate it, yeah, and people are so up for it.
And do you sort of see when your audience is, obviously you've got, you know, people like myself who, you know, similar age to you, grew up with you and everything, but also you're going to have their kids and maybe even their kids, are you?
Exactly. I'll make a joke sometimes. I see these little kids down the front. I said, your mum made you come to see this. You know, you'd rather be at home watching Ninja Turtles. No. But I mean, that's the sort of upside and downside of the internet. You know, the kids can watch you, you know, like when we were young, you had to go out and go to a record shop and buy a record. You know, it's very hard to get into a band.
Yeah.
Now, of course, they can just look up online and see you straight away. And they like us still. It's fabulous, yeah, with young people, for sure.
Well, listen, let's tell people sort of well in advance where and how they can get tickets. It's the C'est La Vie 2023 tour. You're kicking off in Aberdeen on the 30th of November. Quite a few dates, right? 13 dates?
You know, ultimately, Madness are here to cheer people up, and it's the best thing in the world to be doing a tour at Christmas time. You know, because people, that's when they really want to have a laugh and let their hair down, and that's what we're all about. So, yeah, so it kicks off in Aberdeen. I don't know the exact dates, but thank you very much for suggesting a sequence to it all. I shall be there until the knees give up. No, it's just great. You know, I mean, we haven't worked for a couple of years, and really what you do, you know, as an artist like me, it's playing live, you know, and seeing an audience. You just can't beat it, you know, and seeing the joy on people's faces. Each one of our songs adds a different story to a different person's life, whether it was their first girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as we go through the set, you know, whether it's Baggy Trousers, My Girl, and then you get towards the end, like Our House, and then It Must Be Love, we always end with that. Better than seeing a load of fat, bald blokes all crying while we play It Must Be Love.
I never thought I'd miss you half as much. Nothing more, nothing less. Love is the best.
Number 4 in 1981, It Must Be Love, the gorgeous sound of Madness. Okay, Suggs, let's go wafting back through the mists of time to get a bit of a handle on your earliest musical influences. Generally speaking, my first question tends to be if you remember the first record you ever bought with your own pocket money.
No, because I stole it.
Oh!
Imagine, by John Lennon. Imagine No Possession. So, of course, I had to have that away. That was in there.
So were you just half-inching it because you were a few bob short, or was that a political stance you were taking that you weren't going to buy into this consumerist society?
Do you know what I mean? It's up to you. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's the great dichotomy of what Madness are. Are we thieves or are we just doing it for the people? I mean, in them days, you know, they were foolish enough to leave the record in the sleeve. Then you just kneel down and stick it in the big pocket of your Crombie, and away you went.
Well, whilst I can't condone the illegal activity, it's a pretty great first record to have in your collection, that's for sure. As you got older then, as you were getting a little bit older, what about the first live gig that you went to of note? Do you remember? Somebody that we would know?
Yeah, bunked in, again, power to the people. It was the Who at Charlton Football Ground.
Oh.
I think it was 1974, I can't remember exactly. I was about 12 or 13, and me and a load of my mates went down there and we bunked in. Climbed over the wall. It was Alex Harvey was the first band on, which was like just such a revelation. I mean, man, Alex Harvey. And that was such a sort of revelation. I remember Ian Dury saying, you know, comic malevolence. And that really resonated with us because we weren't horrible, but we weren't nice neither. And just having a bit of fun while being a little bit, you know, on the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
The wall wasn't that high around Charlton Football Ground, so we were putting our hands over the wall. And the bouncers on the other side were like hitting it with spanners and iron bars.
Oh, no.
And finally, we got through a bit where they weren't. Come on, this is it. Right, give us a nap. Down, realised I was in the urinal. Head first.
Oh, my God.
But, so with all these fellas, right, and you're too young to know, wearing blue and white striped shirts, which was what Alex Harvey used to wear, like the QPR
Right.
football kit. And they went, and bouncers all steamed in and went, these are with us, you, and nap off. And we got into the crowd, and I do remember was the Who. Yeah, come on. They did that Barbara O'Reilly.
Yeah.
It was the first laser show in the world. And literally, it was like one green beam was bouncing off some sort of car, what you call them, you know.
Like a glitter ball.
And I remember they go, whatever you do not get the laser beam in you. And this hippie was climbing up the stench. I'm going to get a third eye, man. You know, another dimension. Anyway, but that Barbara O'Reilly, you listen to that. That is something else. Anyway, that was my first gig. Yeah, that was it, yeah.
Out here in the fields.
Barbara O'Reilly from 1971, The Who, live at Charlton Football Club in 1974, when Suggs and his mates climbed over the wall to witness it, his very first gig. And we will be back with more hilarity from the leading man of madness, Suggs, next. Welcome back to the evening show with Jackie Brambles, where it's just you, me, and our special guest, Suggs, cozying on in for what is turning out to be a most entertaining, great conversation, as well as a meander through some of his most meaningful musical memories. Now, just before the break, we played a track by The Who, because they were the very first band that you saw live, Suggs, at the legendary Charlton FC gig, no less. So I know you were only, 12 or 13 when you watched them perform. So do you think that, I mean, you obviously it was just an adventure getting there, but do you think that anything in your brain at that point flipped and you thought, that's what I want to do? I want to be on the stage?
No, not at that point. Not at that point. It was a bit later on. I ended up at the Roxy Club, which was the big punk club in Covent Garden, when I was a little bit, maybe 15 or something.
Right.
And then it was the opposite. I seen this band called Eater, who were about 14, all falling about on the floor. I thought it's the complete opposite. What I've seen, like, you know, they're all on a pedestal, these rock stars.
Yeah. Now
all of a sudden, it's kids just like me. And you don't actually have to be fantastic to be in a band. And that was the turning point for me.
Oh, and as you were sort of coming up then, I mean, with Madness, I mean, it took a while, didn't it, to sort of get the lineup in place as we knew it. It took a while, sort of some comings and goings and stuff.
Yeah.
But once you were on your way and you felt like, right, this is it, we are the band, and we're going for it.
Yeah.
Who would be some of the contemporaries around you at that point, before you broke through, before you hit the big time, when you were sort of trying to make it through? Who would have been to the left and right of you?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because, you know, everything happened so fast. You know, it's like month to month, things were changing. I mean, when we started out, it was like pub rock, which was sort of 76 around that time.
Yeah.
And then punk came along, which was a very different thing, because pub rock is so, you know, you get like really pompous rock and roll bands. And then you got Ian Dury and the Kilburn and the High Roads was the band that we were into.
Right.
And that was Ian Dury's first band, who were very eclectic. Their first album, Handsome, had a huge impact on us. Deaf School, my wife was in a band called Deaf School, who were absolutely tremendous. But then they were like 76, then 77 Paint comes along, and all the theatricality goes out the window. All of a sudden, you all got to be in like jeans rolls in and four-piece bands, and suddenly the whole... But then we come out 78, and then suddenly it was all right again to be theatrical. Then there was the Specials, the Selector, Dexys Midnight Runners. You know, suddenly there was a scene that we didn't even imagine that blew up, you know. Be fun, you know, be fun.
Actually, we had Pauline Black from the Selector on the show last month, and she was just sort of saying it was really great fun. You know, it was very collegial in that sort of two-tone world, all going on each other's tours and things.
Yeah, mate. So, you know, I'm like 17, 18. We meet at the Roundhouse in Camden Town to go on the two-tone tour with the Specials, the Selector, the Beat, and then eventually Dexys Midnight Runners. And we were like kids, and it's like, you know what I mean? It was a revelation. And we were just lucky to have been in that firmament, because it was, you know, nobody could see it coming. Suddenly, two-tone was... I remember Jerry Dammers, who started two-tone, as keyboard player from the Specials.
Yeah.
And they played the Hope and Anchor, where we used to hang around at pub in Islington, and he turned up with all his mates. Went, Jesus, they're just like us. And after the gig, he had nowhere to stay, so he stayed my mum's flat. And in the wee small hours, he said to me, "Here, Suggs, I want to start a record label. I want to make an English Motown." I said, "Jerry, isn't that a smidge optimistic, seeing you just played the 35 people in the pub basement?" But 2 weeks later, he went, "I've done it. I've done it."
He was amazing.
Yeah. So we made the prints of this recording. You know, we barely got the boozer we was working in, you know, and then it all just happened like that, like a rocket.
Stop your messing around.
A message to you, Rudy, from the Specials, got to number 10 in 1979. So, Suggs, tell us a little bit more then about the official start of Two-Tone.
They started their office above a Dr. Martin's shop in Camden. That's where Two-Tone Records started.
Yeah.
We knew that, I think our single was something like number 30. And you had to find out on a Tuesday whether you're going to get on Top of the Pops or not. And so we're all there, like, there's one phone, you know, and you're waiting for it to ring, right? And it rings. And you go, "Yeah, you're on Top of the Pops." Oh, fantastic. Put the phone down. Then it rang back and went, "Oh no, sorry. Secret Affair have overtaken you in the charts, and they're flying back from Scotland."
Oh.
And helicopter. Anyway, the following week we went up to 16, and then being on Top of the Pops was, you know, I mean, I can't remember, 14 million people used to watch Top of the Pops. So
I know.
You were genuinely going up the charts. And suddenly there we were on Top of the Pop. I remember our van broke down just off of the Westway, and we had to push it
No!
2 miles to the television centre.
That's unbelievable.
We got banned off the Top of the Pops 4 times, and I won't go into the detail.
Well, give us a bit of detail. You don't have to give us grim detail, but why would we been but badly behaved?
Because I remember the poor girl who was a promo for Stiff Records at the time, said to me, "Suggs, most bands give their right arms to be on Top of the Pops." And I said, "Look, we just aren't right arm giving people." And I'll go into the details, but it was just like that. Yeah, it was just like Lee, our saxophone player, had a T-shirt that said, "I need the BBC," and he took that off, and the next one said, like, "a hole in the head," and it's like, "All right, off you go."
Uh-huh.
The next time, I can't remember, it was Pan's People, or one of them were in the lift, and the lift only held 7 people, so who's going to not want to get in the lift with Pan's People? So we all got in, and it plummeted into the basement, and we were stuck there for 4 hours.
You've got to make a film of this.
And one of the band's brother was in prison, and he put a thing on his T-shirt saying, "Hello, prisoner number 4422444." and we got banned again. But the trouble was we kept having hits and we were like more interesting than a lot of other stuff that was in the charts at the time. So they had to keep having us back. Yeah, we've always been theatrical people, so that's, you know, how it worked. You know, Top of the Pops was...
Of course.
Was big, there's pantomime, you know, and we were pantomime people.
Good morning, miss. Can I help you, son? 16. Now welcome away. Welcome to the House of...
House of Fun got to number 1 in 1982 for Madness, and we will be back with their frontman, their leader, Suggs. Will be back with us for more great conversation. That's coming up next. Welcome back to the Great Conversation on the Evening Show with Jackie Brambles, and our very special guest is the frontman of Madness for over 45 years, the one and only Suggs is with us. I think, as you said as well, everyone was so original and so different from one another, but all together.
You know what I mean? And like, whether you liked it or not, you know, Billy Idol, you know, and Specials, and then Dexys Midnight Runners, all with the bobble acts, and just was every day something very interesting. Talking Heads, you know, it just was fascinating, man. ABBA.
I mean, people have this sort of this rosy image that, you know, backstage at Top of the Pops or at a gig or something like that, you know, you're all jamming and strumming guitars together. Did you ever get the chance to hang out and collaborate, even casually, with any of those sort of contemporaries?
Not really. I mean, Top of the Pops, the only thing I clearly remember is seeing Cliff Richard having his makeup put on. It took about an hour and a half.
Yeah, so he was number 1 when you went the first time you went on with the Prince.
Thank you very much. The main thing was that the Two-Tone tour, when we got on this coach with the Specials, the Selector, Beat, and all that, that was it. I mean, because ironically, you don't really cross paths with your contemporaries because you're working, you know, you're on the road, and you very rarely cross paths.
And I suppose you're very self-contained as you know, there's enough of you, isn't there? That
There certainly was. There certainly was enough of us.
Right, well, listen, let's take a break for some music. And I rarely do this, actually, inflicting my own will on our great conversation. But just because Madness had so many hits that I loved and is a band that's so close to my heart, I don't want myself, selfishly, or our listeners to miss out. So I'm going to play my favourite track of yours. I don't know why this hits me as hard as it does and always has. I think it's your vocal on the track, and the arrangement and the production really highlights that you're more than a bunch of nutty boys having a great time. You really are artists. This is my favourite Madness track. This is One Better Day.
Arlington House, address.
One Better Day from Madness. Hard to pick a favourite Madness track, but if forced to, that would be it for me from 1984. And when you sort of look back now, Suggs, obviously everybody, you know, every band I ever talked to on here has had ups and downs, you know, change of lineup, reunions, fallouts. It's like a musical dysfunctional family, most bands.
Yes.
But, you know, it's massive congratulations and kudos to everybody who's still out there selling tickets and, you know, in demand all these years on, 40 odd years on. You know, to what do you attribute that the fact that you guys have sort of made it this far?
That we're still alive.
That helps. It's a big help.
You know, as our mum used to say, you know, I woke up above ground. No, every time I go on stage, I look round and I look at my bands and I look round and there they are. They're still here. Yeah. I mean, you know, we knew each other since we were kids, and tolerance is the thing. You know, we put up. I've seen so many people, you know, fall out, go to court, and now, not being morbid, but a lot of my contemporaries are dead, you know, and so I just really appreciate that people still dig what we're doing and we're still able to do it, you know. That's it. I
tell you what I love about the band is that you have managed to sort of do, you know, your daft stuff, your baggy trousers, your love songs. There's a bit of a political, you know, social commentary edge going on, but it's all been done in such a classy way.
Well, thank you very much. No, it's true. Now, someone has asked me, like, my favourite song is Embarrassment, you know, and it's just a pop song. But actually, it was about Lee, our saxophone player's sister, had a baby with a black guy, and the family castigated her for it. And I'm talking about, you know, way back when this sort of used to go on, you know, racism. And we weren't like political with a big P. We were just sort of trying to say what was going on. At the same time, we did, you know, a great day. You know, so in amongst all this sort of jocularity, there was some seriousness, and it still is, you know. But we're not, you know. Ultimately, I feel like people, you know, ain't got a lot. They've spent a few quid, and we're going to entertain them. But it doesn't mean that we're stupid. You know, I mean, we might be daft, but we're not stupid.
And who do you personally, as you know, out with the band, who have you sort of personally revered as an artist over the years? Is there a particular one? David Bowie. You know, I met him a couple of times, and he really was a tremendous character. And what he did over the whole of his career, you know, like, never stopped, you know. But funny enough, my mate, a friend of mine called Chris Sullivan, used to have a club called the Wag Club in Soho, and David Bowie used to come up the fire escape at the back, have a pint of beer and a fag, just because he could just like relax for a second rather than being David Bowie, you know. Yeah. But that, you know, he created this thing that was very mystical and intriguing. But it was him, you know what I mean? Under that, he was actually a very nice and funny person. Yeah. David Bowie had a hit with Loving the Alien just after Madness hit big with One Better Day. I love that Bowie track. And our special guest tonight for our great conversation, Suggs, is a huge Bowie fan. All right, final question before I let you go. We ask this to everybody. It can be a tough one. It's not what's your favourite song. That'd be idiotic. But it is a particular song that you find yourself revisiting often because you know for sure it's going to get you into the mood that you want to get into, whether that's to be inspired or calmed down or energised or get a bit melancholy about. What song is your go-to tune?
I would like to hear London Calling by The Clash. Yeah, they were fantastic. And I've seen them quite a lot when I was a kid. And what was double great about them, they were into sort of reggae, which we were too, you know, and then they kind of amalgamated those two things, punk and reggae, and that was such an inspiration to us all, yeah.
London Calling, The Clash, our final track tonight, as chosen by our very special guest, Suggs from Madness. A quick reminder, their Summer Festival Circuit Tour starts June 8th in Cannock. You can check out their website for details of where and when they're going to be appearing throughout the next couple of months. Then they are back out on tour again just before Christmas for their C'est La Vie tour. Well, listen, what a treat for me to have a chat with you. I'm definitely going to come and see. I live in Scotland, so I'll be coming to see the Glasgow show, that's for sure.
Lovely. I'll see you there. Come and say hello.
I will do, Suggs. All right, mate. You take care.
All right, mate. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's Suggs. What a fantastic, great conversation that was. My thanks to him.